and it's been a very heated run-up to this meeting, hasn't it? Certainly in terms of cross-channel relations, or as the EU would say, relations between the EU and AstraZeneca. Are we any closer to the UK and Europe getting to some kind of happy place when it comes to vaccine rollout?
Well, Anna, look, we're very thin on the detail. And again, remember that the two sides are still very much disputing over production happening right now in the Netherlands. But there is a joint statement now, and the tone is very different. And we should highlight that. In that statement, which I just want to read you from the United Kingdom and the European Commission, the language is really worth highlighting. As I said, they say there has got to be a win-win solution to this. The context of COVID-19 makes that cooperation between the two sides is now more important than ever, and they stress that there needs to be a mutually beneficial solution to this. So the language is totally different from 24 hours ago. The details were still very thin on that, but clearly there has been a change in direction. And a lot of this, Anna, is going back to some of the concerns that were becoming obvious to the two sides. I would stress and note that the global supply chain is very delicate, but also very complex. When you start moving things around unilaterally, that can create a domino effect that can be detrimental for everyone. And yesterday, I would say there was a collective realization on behalf of the UK, but also the European Union, that this was taking a big risk. For the European Union, too, I would point that a number of member states, including the Irish, but also the Belgians, they were concerned, too, about those unilateral moves and what they could trigger. The Irish, of course, have a very close relationship with the United Kingdom, and the Belgians are making vaccines on a global scale. So they did highlight that they were concerned that more restrictions could trigger, as I said, a domino effect that could turn out to be quite risky.
Good morning, Maria. I think the key point for the call today, though, it's not just two sides on this call, is it? Biden's joining as well. What's the expectation for his involvement?
Well, he's joining on this call at 8:45 p.m. time in Brussels. Normally, if we had been in a normal world, not coronavirus, this would have been a huge event. It's now a video conference, but the Europeans want to use this to send a message that this is the start of a new relationship. We're moving away from Trump, we're moving away from tariffs, and we want to focus on the positive. That is climate, and that is also the economy and trade. You know, it's also interesting that normally China and Russia would have featured quite highly on that agenda, but of course this is happening in a video conference. There's concerns not to be naive about potential hacking, and that's not going to feature that much in that call. And it shows you to some extent that under coronavirus, normal diplomacy is becoming very tricky, because a lot of the conclusions and a lot of the real negotiations happen not so much on the official agenda, but also on the sidelines. And that's not possible now when you do this, of course, in a video conference.